Welcome to the Only Eye Athletics podcast, the show that values hearing your stories, reliving your adventures, and learning information that can help us improve in all aspects of our lives. I'm your host, Dean Banco, and I know you enjoyed today's episode as much as I do. All right, today I have my friend on, Kimberly Stewart. She recently race directed a orienteering event, and she's into the whole orienteering scene. I'm probably going to stumble on that word a bunch today, but I wanted to get her on, talk about it in general, like how to get into the orienteering, what you need, that sort of thing, to give people an idea and also to increase my knowledge because I am interested in participating at some point. So thank you for coming on today and glad to have you on.
Hi there. I'm glad to tell people about orienteering for sure.
So you him hawing around about it, giving a brief introduction to yourself. So I'm just gonna put you on the spot and
Do it.
yeah.
Okay. Um, well, I've been doing orienteering for only a couple of years now, but I have always been in the woods, trail running, road running, bicycling, some sort of water sport like canoeing, paddling, kayaking, and so forth, all of which are used in orienteering. Also, cross-country skiing is used in orienteering, and I feel like this sport finally brings together everything I'm interested in as a map nerd. So it's nice over the past couple of years that it really grabbed my attention, and I really put forth a lot of effort into this. And then orienteering can also lead you into other types of sports too, adventure racing, which is something that I do, and expedition racing, which is very long, drawn out races that include orienteering. So I can talk about those later, but I've been doing those the past couple of years as well, and I love them. So, and I'm from Ebensburg, Pennsylvania. Um, that's
Only a
about
half
it.
an hour away.
Yeah.
So I guess because you said you're involved in all those other sports and this
Hmm.
combines it. So is that
Yeah.
what really got you into orienteering, or
Oh,
was it just the like niche factor of it in the United States?
yeah. So what got me into orienteering is I saw an advertisement for an adventure race. I was looking at um, triathlon type races. I did a basic triathlon, the West Penn, that has like a 5K and a 6 mile canoe and a 15-mile bike. And it was very casual. Or if you wanted to, compete, you could. And I love that. And so an adventure race includes orienteering, which it's not a set course. You choose your own adventure. So you get a map and you have to choose your course, choose which way you want to go. And I love that because I feel like every year it's the same race, it's the same course, and you just go and do the same thing every year. And it's like, okay, I needed variety. Um, I needed something new and exciting, and I saw this adventure race advertisement, but I didn't know I know how to read a map. I love maps, but I didn't know how to use a map to set a course or find controls in the woods, which is what we look for. So I took a course from the Prince Gallitzin State Park, actually, had a compass map reading course and compass using course. So I hurry up and went and did that, and it was free. So if anybody wants to learn how to use a map and compass, there's a lot of different classes throughout the area. I always see a couple advertised in Johnstown, in the state of Pennsylvania. You can take them online. State parks have them a couple times a year. Boy Scouts learn how to use compasses. Um, so I went and did that, and I was pretty excited about it. And then I went and did this 5 hour adventure race and absolutely fell in love with it. And then I got introduced to the sport of orienteering, which is taking a map and using a compass to find controls that are marked in specific locations on the map. So it's like a scavenger hunt or, um, like a choose your own adventure. You can get as many controls as you want. You can get all of them. Um, what kind of questions do you have from this point going forward? I guess since there's
Uh,
so much to talk about it.
I
I don't
guess,
want to keep rambling.
well, because I think you already just touched on my next question. What,
Yeah.
in your own words, is orienteering to begin with? And I think you just said it's
Yes.
basically choosing your own adventure and
Mm,
reading a map at the same time. Would that be
right.
accurate then?
Pretty much. Yeah. That's what say to people. You get a map and you get a compass, and not you don't always have to use the compass. But you do want to learn how to read a map. And what's really cool about orienteering events, or we call them a meet, an orienteering meet, is they always provide free instruction. They will let you use a compass and they'll show you how to use the compass. So you can go to an orienteering event completely oblivious about using a map and compass, and they'll explain to you how to use it.
Yeah, because like me, as I told you already, like I understand, north, south, east, west, and I can find my way
Hmm.
around trails on a map, but
That's good. That's a
to
start.
yes,
That's very important.
but to actually like I guess get the point A to point B in an orienteering
Yeah.
thing and actually how to read it because I little backtracking here. I knew she's been in the orienteering for a while, and she actually race directed a race this past weekend at Yellow Creek, and I went over just to be nosy and just to hang out for a few, and then I was looking at the maps and they were like completely different from what I was expecting, and I was just like, well, how the hell do you even read this?
Yeah.
So there's, I
Yeah.
guess, explain some of the different things on the maps.
Yes. Yeah. So when you go to a state park and they have a brochure there, like Yellow Creek, for example, I have so many Yellow Creek maps. Um, you open it up and you can, it says you are here in the parking lot, and you can see the thick black lines where the roads are. And then you see dotted lines, which are trails. And then you can see some other different colored, dotted lines that are gravel roads or forest roads. Um, Water is obviously blue, right? And that's about it. That's all you get. You get where the restrooms are, you get the beach area, the playground, all the cool things that you want to see in the state park. So if you took that basically, but you added the terrain features, the topographical features. So, the contour lines, the squiggly lines that are on a map that everyone sees when you pull up a USGS map, like a US Geological Survey map. Um, Also a LIDAR map, which is what we use. So you can see all of the nooks and crannies of the earth. So the mountains that rise up, the valleys that come down, the water, the streams. It does take a lot of practice to read these and understand there's symbols that mean specific things. I'm still learning that. I practice that all the time. I feel like I'm pretty good at it now, but like I said, I've been doing it probably 3, 4 years, and it takes a long time to just look at it and know. But it's just practice, just like anything else. So reading the map, you basically learn one thing. Like you start to just follow the trails to get to point A. To get to control number one, you follow the trail, and then you want to get to control number two, you follow the trail. That's pretty much it. So a beginner's course is very simple. If for anyone that wants to go out and do an orienteering event, they start out with a beginner course, and you just follow the trails to the locations and come back to the finish and you're done. So you start there. Yeah. But then when if you want to advance, then you have to learn how to read some of the terrain.
Yeah, because it was like reading Egyptian. It was just I was looking at it, I was like, man,
Yeah,
this is I guess we were probably looking at the whole map, so it was more in depth.
we were.
But I was just like, man, this is completely foreign to me, and I would have to,
Hmm.
even though I know Yellow Creek a little bit, there was just so much more information on that map and all your
There is.
orienteering symbols. I was like,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, I'm good.
I should have shown you the beginner map, and you would have been like, "Oh, I can do that." Because all you had to do was run down the road and get the first control, run up the trail to the intersection of the trails and get the second control, run over a bridge, find the bridge, get that third control. Very simple um, locations for a beginner to find. So I had a friend of mine bring another friend to this event this past Sunday who has never done orienteering before. And they both absolutely loved it and they did perfectly fine on the beginner course. They even said they wish they would have done the next more difficult course. Yeah, so it is pretty basic for an adult, really, if you know how to just read a regular like park map. You just focus in on the trails on it. And then once you learn the trails, then you start uh, learning what the other symbols mean.
So, what does a person actually need to get started?
Nothing. You just need to learn or know how to, you just need to be able to walk on trails in the woods. That's it. Um, because you can come to an orienteering event and we will give you the map. We will lend you a compass. We will instruct you on how to read the map and you just walk out and start doing it. We do use, they're called SI cards. They're like a little USB card that you punch when you get to a control is an orange and white flag that's hanging in the woods. Like you can't miss it. I wish I had an example. It's almost like a 12 by 12 white and orange flag and some of them are reflective. So if you even shined a light on it, you could see it. Um, it's very easy to spot in the woods, except for in the fall when the leaves are orange and you think every orange thing is one of those flags. Um, they are deceiving. But you go to this flag and there's a little circular device hanging in there, and you put your punch, USB thing into it, and it beeps, and it records the time and number of that location. So it knows when you were there, to provide evidence. And then as you walk throughout with your map and you go to each of these locations and you punch it, you come back to the finish and you download that and it'll show you how long it took you to get from like number one to number two to number three and to do the whole course. And then it will show you at the bottom of the paper the rankings. So it can be a competition, and that's what's exciting about it for trail runners. Um, Trail runners who want to get into something new and want to use their brain while they're out there and, you know, um,
Well, I don't know how many of us actually have brains to
none
use.
of us.
Well, at least the ultra runners. Maybe like the smaller race, like the halves or the fulls. But us ultra runners,
Yeah.
it's few and far in between for brains.
Have you ever done a race where they had you do a puzzle or a math problem or anything different, like put together a Lego set or anything different, just anything?
Uh, I think the closest thing would be to that would be Spartan
Ah,
years ago made us remember a number. And if you didn't remember the
oh,
number, you had to do like the burpees or whatever. So I forget how they did it, but it was like a number they gave you.
yeah,
We'll just say, I think it was like your bib number. And if you didn't remember it, you had to do burpees. So like as you're running, you're trying to remember
yeah.
like the wording. So uh, it was a long number too. It was like a 9 or 10.
Oh, wow.
So you had to sort of
Okay.
put like words to it to remember but I was like 8 years ago
Yeah.
before they. I think they brought it back now, but
Yeah.
it's one of those mental challenges. Other than that, I think I was really the only offhand that I can remember.
Okay, so imagine that. You're running through the woods and you're trying to mentally focus on something else. It's
Yeah,
challenging. It's
it's not
not just
fun.
using your physical body, but using your mental body, and you get tired, right? So some of these courses, the one, just for example, race, the event that I directed this past Sunday had a beginner's course, which was about, hold on, let me look. I forget how many. It was, we use kilometers. You don't have to, but it was almost 2 kilometers, which is like 1.2 miles long. So you could just walk that, over the course of 1.2 miles and collecting 6 control point flags. Pretty easy. Probably would take you 45 minutes, maybe an hour, right? So the longest course, there's 5 courses that I created, and we have colors for them. So it's like white, yellow, orange, I forget what, green or brown, and then red was the hardest, most difficult, the longest. So that one was 7.9 kilometers over Yellow Creek. So if anybody knows Yellow Creek and all the mountain bike trails, you had to follow it almost all the way out to the dam and all the way back. Um, but what's tricky is if you navigate incorrectly, chances are you're going to have a lot more distance because you're going to have to figure out where you are, how to get back to where I need to be, right? And if you are off course, you have to make up time and distance and get your brain right and look past your mistake because that's what happens too. You dwell on your mistake while you're out there like, "Oh man, I just wasted all this time. I wasted all this energy." And you don't eat and you don't drink. And next thing you know, your brain isn't working correctly and you're like, "Oh my gosh, 2 hours have gone by and I'm just running through the woods random." Yeah, it's a challenge.
So people do get lost a lot, or
Oh, everybody gets lost all the time. All the time. Even the experts. I had I'm trying to think out of I forget how many people did the advanced course. Hold on, let me look at the results of the last event. I had Oh wow, there's a lot. There was 10, 11 people participated in the advanced long course, and only one guy did not get lost.
so he says.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, exactly. It took him an hour and 36 minutes to complete that, but everyone else got lost at some point, um, missed some controls. Once you miss them and you're like, you don't want to go back, you're going to waste time. You can. That's a choice you make. And usually you have a time limit, 2 hours, 3 hours. Um, you have to be back by a certain time. And then there were 2 people who didn't finish the course. So yeah, it's more common to get lost and more common to not finish than it is to complete it
So then
well.
that would sort of suck if it's like a bigger course, like not Yellow Creek, we'll put it that way. So if you're out like west or in Europe where
Mm,
there's miles upon miles
mm-hmm.
instead of like a
Yes.
closed, I want to say Yellow Creek's more of like a
Yeah.
closed course because if
Right.
you can only go so far before you hit road or houses.
Right. Right. You have to stay in the state park boundaries. Yeah.
So that's so that would be like the only danger besides wildlife or
Yeah.
stupidity falling getting hurt, but like would be getting
Right.
lost in the middle of nowhere
Yes.
and not being able to correct yourself.
Yes. It happens
So
often.
what do you do in
Yeah.
those situations? Like, do the
Hope,
bigger
hope,
events have spots and stuff?
um, hopefully you have your cell phone on you and on the map is the race director's phone number and you can, right? Same thing as a regular, a running race. What happens if you get lost in a running race? What would you do?
Look at my watch. Because
Well,
I always
for the
have like the
GPS?
map. So like
Yeah.
I go back to the map and I just backtrack.
Oh, well, you can't do that in orienteering. So just a note on that, you can use a GPS watch. I do. Um, and mine has adventure race mode, which it tracks you, but it does not show you the trails and it will not show you the map. You have to read the paper map. Yeah. So what if you didn't have your watch on? Then what would you do if you got lost?
Hopefully have my phone on me.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
So you can. If
I
you
mean,
truly, truly get lost, yes, you can pull up your phone and pull up the GPS. Safety. Safety first.
what?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, are you really technically allowed to have a phone and watch on you since it's more of a navigation event? Because that could be
Yeah.
advantageous, I guess.
So some events, ranked events, or adventure races, you it depends on the race. You may or may not be allowed to have your phone on you, and if you do, you have to have it shut off. There's even some races like the adventure races, they make you put your phone into a bag and they seal it, and you carry it with you for emergency sake. Um, and then when you get back, you have to show them the phone still sealed in the bag. But for orienteering races, you can have your phone on you. It has to be off, or m- most orienteers that are participating in nationally ranked events don't have anything on them. Don't even have water on them. They're that secure in their knowledge and sport that they can just go out and do what they need to do and get back in a short amount of time. Yeah. So beginners I take, water and food and snacks and your phone and your camera and all this stuff like you're going out for a hike. Yeah. So it's good if you starting out for a while going to local events that don't have all these rules where you can't take your phone. You can take pictures, take your time, enjoy it, learn about it, talk to other people while you're out there. But if some people are very competitive about it. Now, you shouldn't really talk to other people if you're in a competitive event either. You just bypass each other and you don't even look at them. Yeah, you can't talk.
You don't even want to follow them a little bit if they
No.
know where they're going.
Well, that's a tactic you could do. But I have done that. Yes, sometimes it works. Most of the time it does not work. Go follow your own, it's your own race. Do your own thing. Follow your own map. Humans make errors. I don't want to trust someone else's navigation.
So, what would be an instance that it wouldn't work?
Oh, where you follow someone else and then you got lost? Oh my gosh. Well, sometimes this has happened many times for me, actually. I'm doing an orienteering course and I did one in the dark. They have night orienteering as well, which is very difficult. I think this was last year, maybe the year before that. I was in Virginia, and it's night. It's nighttime. It's completely, dark in the woods. You just have your headlamp on, and you have your map, and you're looking for the reflective flag. And then there was two ladies just standing there, um, super confused. They were lost, truly lost. And okay, I'm not trying to win any money out here. They were like, "Do you know where you are?" That's usually the first question is like, "We don't know where we are. Do you know where we are?" So you stop. Most people do is stop and point where on the map that you are, and then let them try to figure it out. But these two ladies were nervous. It was dark out, so I let them follow me. But then they started talking and talking about this and talking about that. Next thing you know, the three of us were lost. I got off course. Um, And I don't know how long it took till I don't know. I at some point I was like, you guys got to figure it out. I'm gonna go. I picked a direction. I'm just like, I'm gonna go west because I need to find number six. I'm going that way. And I just used my compass, went west, found the trail, got back on course, did what I needed to do, but I was way behind. Yeah, so, you know, you do get lost, not by your own um F ups, but other people's too.
It might be a risk that I would be willing to take if I was like in a national, like a championship following.
Yeah.
Like I said, some of the only guy I really know is like Killian Jornet. If I was like following him and I
Yes.
could keep up with him,
Yeah.
I would
If
probably
you could keep
trust
up with them.
his
That's
ability
true.
over other people.
That's true. So once, you do this for a while and you get to know who's who in the orienteering world or in the adventure racing world, and okay, so, I see so and so down there from a distance, Johnny, Johnny Map, right? Whatever, I'm like, oh, he's been doing this for a long time. He knows what he's doing. He's a really good navigator. I'm just going to watch where he goes or watch where he came from. If he came from a control, where did he come from? Yeah, you can use those tactics for sure. We do. Um, then there are people who, like, if you get lost and you ask them where you are, they'll completely ignore you as well. They don't have to help you. So you can be like, you got to figure it out, man.
I mean, because I'm all about like the sneakiness sometimes, like throwing people off my scent. But at the same time, guess it would depend on the
Yes.
situation if they were like seriously
Yeah.
lost or if they were just trying to get an advantage off of me. From
Right. So, okay, so we also do that too. We also do specific things to try to throw people off whenever, whenever you get a punch, you go around a certain way. Don't come in the same way you came out. Or if you see or hear other people, you creep off into the distance and you try to run away. There's other things that people do. You don't want to give away clues or locations or trails or the way to do something. You really don't. It can be a competition. It is a competition. Once you really get into this, you're like, oh, it's not even a competition with yourself with improving, but it is a competition with other people.
So what about
So
people
there's
wearing
a
like complete camouflage then? Because that would seem like it would be a good.
You sure could.
I mean,
You
does anybody ever
absolutely
do
could
that?
do that. Um, probably. Probably, I'll be honest with you. Most of us, so clothing wise, like you have to wear pants and you have to wear long sleeves if you're going to be bushwhacking. If you're doing a beginner's course or a intermediate course, you might not go into the woods off trail, maybe a little bit. So the risks, of going off trail are climbing over logs, running through jagger bushes, briar, thorn trees, ticks, animal holes. I can't tell you how many animal holes I've fallen into because you're dashing through the woods, tripping over logs, running through fields, swamps. Next thing you know, you're going through a bog and you're trying to go through a bog or you fall into the bog, and you climb out of the bog. The, when you have a map and say you get to like an intersection or a turn on a trail and you know the control flag is 300 meters, you know, northeast, and you use your compass to take a bearing to that location, you have to follow your compass straight on and just walk straight towards it, no matter what you encounter. It could be boulders you have to climb over, trees you have to go around. It's very difficult to do that. And how far? Like if you walked a certain distance, would you know how far you walked?
Oh. Not necessarily, but sometimes you sort of, after you ran for so many years, you sort of get a feeling
Yeah,
like this should be a tenth. But if you're going slow, it's kind of hard to judge.
right. Yeah, you do. After you do races for so long, you get an idea of how far you've gone or how
Well,
far you need to go
especially if
yet.
you're bushwhacking. If you're on a trail, it'd be a lot easier to judge.
Hmm. Right.
But yeah, I would say if you're bushwhacking or not knowing exactly where you're at, it's definitely a lot harder.
Yeah. So we pace count as well. Um, and that is challenging. A lot of people can't do it or don't know how to do it, but a lot of people do it very well. It's just practice. You measure how far just a casual walk, um, uh, what is it, 100 meters, and you count that. Like my pace count is around 70 for 100 meters. But if you're walking through the woods, you're doing all these little weird steps, so it's hard to judge. Sometimes you're spot on, sometimes you're not. Sometimes it's much further. And when you're tired, your pace is going to be longer because um, the space in between your steps is going to be smaller. So,
But do you guys have any
yeah.
like tick checking parties afterwards?
We do. We try to help, you want to try to help each other out and check each other out. Yeah.
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 Yeah, it just reminds me of that song. I want to check you for ticks or whatever. Who was that? It was like it's been like 10 years since that song came
Yeah.
out.
I was gonna say I haven't heard that in a long time. You better play that as like the intro.
Oh, I think it might be copyrighted. So the key things that you were saying people use to check in and out of the controls, is that
Mm.
standard practice for like every event, just to for like scoring purposes, or is there like other methods?
Yeah, so it's beginning to be standard. Before, electronics came into the world, orienteering started in military, um, you know, in probably the early 1900s, could have even been earlier than that, 1800s. The history of orienteering is based out of Sweden mostly. Other countries, they take orienteering very seriously. They learn it in high school. They have orienteering clubs in high schools, or maybe even, younger than that. Um, it's considered, one of the top sports in other countries. So, orienteering probably the skill of using a map has been around for a bazillion amount of years, and then using a compass has been around for a bazillion amount of years, right? Just to navigate ships, airplanes, everything in underwater. Um, you need you can use a compass underwater, but so they used to do like a paper with a punch on it, and you would get there, or you would just write down the letter and what time you were there. Um, Now they have the SI cards that you punch, and it's electronic. What's even cooler is the advanced version of the SI card is you don't even have to punch it. If it's They have an what's called an SI air card, where you just have to run by the control. You don't even have to stop. So imagine that saving time, right? You have to stop, find that thing, punch it, pick your map back up. Which way do I go? If you have an air card, you just keep going. You just fly by it, and it gets you.
Yeah, but then how
It
do you
knows
know
you
if
were
it
there.
actually took then?
Well, yeah, you have to just trust that it did.
Yeah, does it give like a light, like a tap, like a?
um, so I've never used them. I've been to events where I've seen other people using them, and I hear that there's a beep that happens but if you're close enough to hear the beep, cool. But if you're not, I forget the distance that it will pick it up. I know it's on the internet there, but I think it's 20 feet. Don't quote me on that. I think it's 20 feet. So if you're within 20 feet of the control, it'll pick it up. but can you hear the beep within 20 feet? Especially if you're, pounding trail, you're probably not going to hear that beep. So you just hope that it did.
Yeah, because that's what I would be worried about. You did all that work, and then
Yeah.
you end up missing like three, and then you lose by
Yeah.
like one or two just because you
It
didn't
didn't
actually
pick you up.
you didn't do the work.
Yeah. Well, once you start using the SI card, I have a friend that uses it, the SI Air card. He was worried about that at first too, and after the first couple times, he had complete confidence in it because it never not picked him up, and still has not. I think he's been using it a year and a half and has never given him any issues. So
Yeah, because well, with
I don't
GPS
think,
and stuff in the middle of the
yeah,
woods, I would always kind of be skeptical. But I mean, they're not going to put
yeah.
something out there if it's not tested and
I
yeah,
was just gonna say that. Yeah, exactly. I don't think the orienteering world would be using this if it wasn't, um, working well. Yeah, working probably has a 99.999%, rate of working.
So why do you
Yeah.
think it hasn't taken off here as much as it has overseas? Is it
Well,
just like our culture or because I
that's a
mean we
great
are sort
question,
of
right?
lazy when it comes to that
I
sort of
know.
thing.
Yeah, I don't like to say that about Americans, unfortunately, but um
Well, I think
map reading in general, right? Think
maybe we're
about,
too reliant on our technology
yeah,
compared to other people, other
exactly.
cultures.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have it available. I remember, I mean, whenever I would take a road trip with my dad and we would have this gigantic atlas, right? And you'd flip the pages and it would have every state in it, every road. And he would ask me for directions, as we're going. He's like, what exit do I need? And what route are we going to be going on? And you would have to plot all it out before you would take a trip and have your paper there and have somebody reading it to you. If you got lost, you would have to stop and ask for directions. But now, yeah, I remember when GPS first started coming out, we had like the little Garmin things that would sit up on the dash, and now it's super accurate because we are all using it, and that information is, we're we're providing them the information as we use it.
Well, I prefer the technology now than compared to old days.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
whole
absolutely.
Google Maps thing where you're trying to drive, look at a piece of paper, seeing where your next turn
Yeah,
is, and then your mileage. Ah,
MapQuest, right.
we're old enough.
Well, yeah, so nobody uses a paper map anymore, right? And I think when you said that you looked at that map, it overwhelmed you and you couldn't distinguish what all the symbols meant, right? So that would deter someone from using a map right there, not understanding what it meant.
Yeah, because I think even with our GPS, we got so many GPS signals or satellites now compared to some of the other countries. I don't want to throw a country out there that they have more than us, but we'll just say like some backwood country like you said, Sweden or like the Alps and stuff like that, where their signals might not be as strong, so they have to rely on a map more than we do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I think that's another reason why it's a lot um, more widely used sport mapping, navigating in other countries because of that. Like it's more rural, um, more mountainous. Like if you're out in the mountains, yeah, there might be satellites in the sky, but you might not be able to access them. Um, just farmlands, and if there's same thing with war, if a war is going on, you don't want to be using technology, so you have to have a map. Well, back in the day, you have a map, yeah.
So how do you come up with locations or waypoints for routes?
Mm. Yeah, so creating the courses, that was a challenge. So this is my first time creating an event. Um, I've participated in a lot of different orienteering events. I've actually done orienteering adventure races in Florida where it's flat and there isn't a lot of topographical lines. I've Texas. Um, the state of Indiana, practically every state on the East Coast I have. Um, so sometimes you're in the mountains, sometimes you're not. So where it's more flat, it's definitely, you'd think it'd be easier. You're just following roads and stuff. So I thought creating these courses would be pretty easy because I've done a good bit of it and I enjoy it and I understand map reading. Um, but once we have a program called Purple Pen, and you have to upload the map. So mapping a location has to be done first. And luckily, um, since I belong to the Western Pennsylvania Orienteering Club, and they've been around for many years, they have a lot of locations mapped already. The president, Jim Wolf, he has done almost all the mapping for the maps that we have available. So a lot of the state parks, Yellow Creek, Blue Spruce, Prince Gallitzin, a lot of Pittsburgh parks, Frick, North Park, um, Raccoon Creek State Park. We have a huge orienteering meet out there in March of every year that's 6 hours long, covers so much land. Um, so he uploads those maps into this program, and then you pull it up and you have to say, so you're creating a basic course. You have to pick like where two roads meet or like it's difficult. It's difficult to pick a spot. Um, what I was taught was try to do it in maybe like a um, circular um, course where they're going like this way, this way, this way, this way, this way, because you don't want people to just go out and back and out and back and out and back, right? So, and you want them to see cool features. Um, I spent a lot of time out at Yellow Creek, walking all the trails, learning the trails, mountain biking the trails, looking at cool features out there, some really beautiful trees I had people go to. Um, there's a term called a reentrant where um, the land curves down into where the water flows, and that's where the water re-enters the main body of water. So all the little streams, tributaries come into like one main stream, and then it re-enters the body of water. So it's called a re-entrant. A friend of mine calls it a swell because that's where the land swells, right? Or what would you call it? A gully?
Hmm. I don't know. I probably have so many different names, whatever
Yeah,
pops in my head that day.
yeah. So that creek down there, right? That creek down there. Um, it's always down in something. Yeah. So there's some re-entrants that are really cool and beautiful because there could be waterfalls there, or big rock formations. So you try to pick locations that you want people to see, especially if they're coming to a new park and you want them to have a good time, see cool stuff, take them on a tour. Take them to all the locations in the park that you think is neat and you want people to see. So you pick these and you try to pick a route that follows it well, um, within the guidelines of the distance and the time it would take them in that um, beginner, intermediate, advanced, distance wise and length of time.
So, how many controls usually are there for a course?
Yeah, so it's different. For a beginner course, it could be, you know what, there's a chart for this. A beginner course could have, I think it's within is it National Orienteering Association has guidelines set for these. So a white course, I'm just taking a guess here. I think it's like 5 to 10 controls over a span of, I think it's 1.5 to 2.5 kilometers, something like that. And then there's a yellow course that could be 2.5 kilometers and have 12 controls. As you advance in further and further, it's a little bit more, a couple more controls and a little bit longer of a distance. But then a beginner course, you don't go off trail. And then as you advance on, you go off trail and you have to use your compass. So you make the controls more difficult to find as the courses advance.
And all the courses, they pretty much overlap then. Say like beginner.
Some,
All right, so they're not. I'm
yeah.
trying to think how to word that.
No,
So
I know
like
what
if
you
you,
mean.
so if you have like
Yeah.
four different advanced, beginner, intermediate, like the first,
Hmm.
like we'll say 10 aren't the same for each one. They might differ.
Right. They could. You can use some of the controls. You do. So out of the 5 courses I created, I had a total of 35 controls throughout the park. Most of them were pretty centrally located to the start. Um, and out of those 35, probably 25 were pretty centrally located. I used those for different courses. So white, yellow, orange, brown, they all use this some of the similar controls. But the advanced was way out there and there was a lot of those that were alone. So that's how it works. Yeah, they can't overlap. But you want to also want to try, which was difficult, each color to start at a different control. So you don't want everybody just going to the same first control. You want people going in different directions. So it's pretty cool when there's a start and people are just shooting off in different directions. You're like, do they know where they're going? Hopefully they're going the right way. Um, there was a control that I used at Yellow Creek, the duck. I call it the duck house. Have you ever seen that house? Duck building, duck waterfowl
Yeah, not
viewing
that I remember.
thing. Oh, okay. Yeah, exactly. So I specifically picked that location because I know a lot of people have never seen this, and it's a building that's up on stilts that's kind of out into the marsh where you can walk up onto it and it's enclosed like a hunting enclosure, but there's peepholes so you can watch the birds. You can't, I don't think you're allowed to hunt from it, but you can watch the waterfowl because at Yellow Creek, there's so many different types of waterfowl out there. It's beautiful. Yeah, so I had people go to that, but I had most of the courses go to that location, but from different angles, different trails.
Now, do you have to go from one to two, or like say if you missed one,
Mm,
like do you just keep going, or do you have to backtrack, or any of that, like set of
yeah.
rules for that?
Well, there are different events that allow you to visit different controls in different order, or like the event that I held, you had to visit the controls in order. So you had to go to number one, then number two, and then number three, and then number four. And if you miss one, you're considered DNF. So you do have to backtrack and find it before you say you missed four. So some people missed four and some people missed six in the courses. Um, you do have to backtrack and find that before you can proceed to five, six, seven, and eight. If you skip it, you're DNF. But maybe you're just out there to learn as well and you don't care. Um, and some people do care. Like I used to not care, but now I'm like, dang, you have to get that before you continue on, or it doesn't count.
Yeah, because that
None
would
of it
sort of
counts.
suck if you have to go
It
in order and then you
sucks.
get lost, and then
It sucks.
you end up two numbers ahead because you
Yeah.
got lost, and now you have to backtrack,
Yes,
or you
you
get
do.
yeah.
So when you go up to a control, you check the number of it, and if it's say you're looking for number 7 and it's number 11, like, okay, I am definitely in the wrong spot. But now you know where you are. So it's kind of bittersweet to find a different control flag. Then then you're like, oh, here I am. Now I know how to get back to number 7. It might be close by. And then you have to go way out and get 8, 9, 10, and come back to 11. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks a lot.
Yeah, because that can
So
really add up the mileage pretty
it
quickly.
does. It does. Yeah, the course estimates for mileage, it's an estimate. Um, it's the computer program's estimate of the distance, but it's always on the low end. Um, Pretty much anyone I've ever spoken with has always had, ended up with longer distance than what the map program would estimate it to be.
I guess, I mean, that makes sense because most mapping software, even for running, it's hard to get the valleys and the dips and the turns accurately,
Yeah,
especially, yeah, the
exactly.
topographic stuff.
Yes.
Making me
Yeah.
use big words here. GPS can't pick it up that well, so you're dipping down and going up. It's going to be off no
Yes.
matter what.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
How
And
much?
plus, you might not attack a control from a good location. Maybe you've just poorly chose which happens all the time. As you get to know the map, there's things that you don't see. It's on the map, but you might not have fully thought about it before you attacked it because you were in such a hurry. You're like, okay, I'm just going to go to this turn, take a bearing, run in. But maybe it would have been easier to run up to the next intersection and go back in a little bit. We might have saved time and distance. But then you're like, oh, you come out that way and you're like, damn, I should have done that. That happens all the time. But it's a learning experience. There's so much to learn about these.
So, like, scoring is basically whoever gets the mall or the most in the allotted time, then.
Yeah, in the allotted time or the fastest. So say for the advanced course, trying to think how many controls I had, 12 or 13, I forget. You have to get all of them, just say 13, I don't know. You have to get all 13 to be considered, official finisher. But then who got all 13 the fastest? So then they're ranked number 1.
So, let's just say I'm pretty speedy, so I get the first 11 done in like an hour, and then it takes me
Hmm.
2 hours to get the last three.
Mm,
So
yeah,
that's 3 hours total, but
right.
I was faster getting 11 done than person
Yes.
B. Does that matter at all?
No,
So it's
it's your
just like,
total time. But you can see that. There is a website that those statistics actually can be uploaded to. Um, there might even be two websites, but the website I use, it's called Attack Point. There's a lot of different orienteering clubs across the world, but we have some local ones. We have Western Pennsylvania, we have Delaware Valley, we have Quantico. Ohio has a couple clubs. So from what I've seen, they can upload their statistics for everybody and for how long it took them to go from number 1 to number 2 to number 3. And you can pull up a graph and compare yourself to other people and be like, okay, I was the fastest going from 2 to 3, but I might have been the slowest going from 7 to 8. And I may have finished, middle of the road. Um, and then you can see how did number 1 do so well, right? Um, and how fast they were going from each one to each one. Sometimes you do faster than the number 1 person. So it's overall like an average of your time, a total of your time. Yeah. Not
I get,
everybody navigates 100% correctly all the time.
yeah, well, then things happen in the woods. You go to the bathroom, you need a snack.
Yes.
But, having that statistic I think it would be beneficial, especially for learning or for beginners, because then you could judge, be like, all right, I knew what I was doing here, then I made a mistake here,
Yes.
and this is where I would have finished or
Yep.
what cost me. So yeah,
Yes.
that would make pretty good sense, I guess.
It's really cool. I love looking at those statistics.
Ah,
Yes, and
I'm getting so
and it
caught
helps.
up in that.
Yeah, me too. But it helps you improve, doesn't it? You're like, okay, so I took 10 minutes here because I couldn't open my bag of gummies, right? And I had to stop and fiddle with it or a zipper or who knows what, right? You're like, okay, so next time I'm gonna have my bag of gummies opened already. All I gotta do is pull it out and eat it, which is what I've
Or in
learned. Have your
navigation, be
food
like,
ready.
definitely should have went this way instead of should have used the trail instead of
Yeah.
bushwhacking. Yeah.
Yeah, so what's really cool about adventure racing is they have trackers on usually the bigger races. They have trackers on everyone, and it is live tracking. There's a few companies that do that, and one of the most popular ones, the one I've raced for this guy a couple times. It's called enabled tracking. So you wear a tracker on you, and every 5 minutes it updates your location. So you can actually see on a map where everyone is and how they attacked that control and which trail they took. Um, it is everything. It's interesting, frustrating when you're watching it, somebody's going the wrong way. Um, you're just yelling at the screen. I've had people tell me that they've watched me race on teams and we were going the wrong way and they were just screaming at us. But then, then you're cheering for people when you see them going the right way and you see what the top teams did and how they attacked things and you
What's
learn.
Oh crap! I know should have remembered this. The movie.
Oh,
Oh crap!
I forget the name of it with
Was it
Mark
Wahlberg?
Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just came out. Hold on.
Where they in part of the movie where they got to a valley, and then they tried to save time, but it was like a zip
Uh,
line.
Yeah, so it was about the dog,
Yes.
right? Oh my God, Arthur the King.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Which
Yeah,
was
so
actually a
truly the
really good
story was
movie.
about the dog. Great movie. Love that movie. Yeah, so if anybody wants a good, ah, semi-good example of what expedition racing is like, very long, drawn out adventure racing and very, very, very long orienteering, um, then that's definitely a good movie to watch. Yeah, so they're tracked in that, and you can actually in the movie, I think his wife is and daughter are watching him on the TV, and they say, "There's Daddy's dot," right? So a friend of mine has a dot watching um, thing now. Oh, he's gonna kill me for saying that, but it's called I forget what it's called, but dot watching. So that's what we do when we're watching other teams um, compete in adventure and expedition racings. We're watching their dot,
I
but
couldn't do that.
it's really, really cool. You can get caught up in it so hard.
It'd be worse than watching a live ultra. Oh,
Yeah, exactly. It's way worse than that. Yeah, so people have the option of going whatever direction they want to. They're not following a course, right? And people make mistakes. Yeah. And sometimes they
ah,
don't. The top teams always make mistakes navigating. Um, they just have a lot of experience. And like say one person on the team is a navigator, um, and they're experienced in that. So yeah, they do really well with a lot of experience. I've definitely improved significantly. I love it. I love it.
no. And yeah, yeah. I was zoning out there for a second. Like, what are the costs for events?
Yeah, so for a local orienteering event, it's $5. Um, that's it for a map. So you can register or show up on a day and pay $5, and
Is
that's
that
it.
pretty standard then?
Yep, pretty standard to be honest with you. I just registered for a nationally ranked event in York in about a month from now, and because it's a nationally ranked event, it's only costing me $20. How much cheaper is that than trail races, right?
Or even a 5K.
Yeah,
Can't even find a
I
5K
know.
now.
For $20 or $5. Right. Yeah. And you're going to be out there covering the same distance. I paid I paid $36 for two races, one on a Saturday and one on a Sunday. So I'm going to be covering probably 16, 17 kilometers, maybe 20K over the course of 2 days, and I paid $36. Yeah, so it's pretty cheap.
That's 20K, about a half marathon.
Right.
All right,
Yeah.
making me do math. Uh, no,
So okay, I was going to
uh,
say it's very cost efficient for kids and families too. So that is, I'd say half of the people that attend the orienteering events is families. You know, there's been a fella and his daughters coming to our last couple of events, and they just love it. Um, Boy Scouts, Girl Scout troops, they even have a badge for orienteering for Compass, and they come out. This last event, I can't tell you how many Boy Scout troops showed up. Probably, probably 20, 30 kids, with the adults at my event, which was great. I was so excited to have all these kids out there learning the maps, and they had a good time. Everybody had such a great time. It's fun.
well, I think as it's even, I would say, since it's a competition, but it's not a cutthroat competition, so there's not as much
Right.
stress or angst, I guess, at the start or finish. Like you're there doing your own thing than
Oh,
anything.
you need to be there whenever people are starting and see the stress.
Well, I'm sure there's a few, but I mean, like, it
Yeah.
just seems like
Yeah.
it's more of a
Not for
laid
everyone.
back.
It is. It can be. Yeah. A nationally ranked event. Oh, I've been to a few of those. It's stressful, very stressful because the thing about those events is you are not allowed to see the map ahead of time. Same with adventure racing. Most of the time, you're not allowed to see the map ahead of time. You get the map at the start, and you, boom, go read the map immediately. There's no for planning. But the local events that we have, we're not trying to, hurt people or kill people. We want people to come back and we want people to have fun. So you can see the map and you can plan your route ahead of time. We want you to learn. Yeah. So for kids, yeah, take the map and figure it out. Figure out what your route's going to be.
Now, how early do you get to see the map then for local events?
Yeah, well, say the event starts at 11, you can show up at 11 and get the map, and then take as long as you need pretty much up until a certain point. You have to start by a certain time to be able to finish by a certain time. Say our event goes from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. You can get the map and study it for an hour and a half if you wanted to.
But you're not releasing like days in advance.
Correct.
Uh,
Not releasing days in advance. Correct. Yeah. That would,
yeah, yeah,
that
that
would be
that would lead to
cool.
some cheating and on the watches and drawing up
It
GPX
probably
files.
would.
That's what I was
It
kind of wondering.
probably it probably would. Yeah. Yeah.
So with it being so cheap, like what are
hmm
prizes or awards or anything like that?
Yeah, there's have been different prizes and awards of, all sorts. Like when you do trail races, you get homemade awards, monetary awards. I've won money at a few. I've won earlier this year. I was first in my category, and I won a really cool orienteering flag that the president of the club's wife made, which is unique because not a lot of people have this. You have to get first place to win this. and it's super cute, you know. So I'm very lucky to have that award. Miniature versions of the flags, um, all kinds of stuff, like trail races do. You roll in, and some people give out medals, ribbons. Um, at the end of it, some of them have finisher medals for everybody, and then they announce the winners afterwards, and then they get, specific prizes. Or um, a couple that I've done, they'll give you money towards the next race.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, and bragging rights, man. Bragging rights.
I know, but you know me, I like my prizes.
Yeah? Oh, I think you like bragging rights.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
I try to stay humble. It can be
Yeah, yeah.
hard.
Sure.
So, how did your first race directing experience go, and what can you improve on, or do you want to improve on for the
Yeah.
next one?
Yeah. It went amazing. It took me a couple months to design the courses. You have to go out and learn the trails in the area and design the course and go back and forth with um the president the president of the club helped me design the courses. I created them, submitted them to him, and then he came back with me and said, "Yes, this is good. No, this isn't good. Let's talk about this. This is why you did this wrong." So it's a learning experience. That took, oh boy, 4 or 5 weeks, I think. And then um, once the courses were finalized, I go out and hang up ribbons in each of the locations. Then, to check for accuracy, we have someone that's called a course vetter, like a veteran, that goes out and finds all the pink ribbons to check that I put them in the right location. And I'll tell you, there were two that I did not put in the correct location because I read the map wrong. I know. Yeah, so that is why we have someone to check it. So once he checks them and everything's agreed upon, and plus he gives feedback too. Like there are descriptions for each of the controls. It could be like trail intersection or bridge or a cairn, a copse, which is a grouping of trees, a reentrant, a boulder, different thing, a ruin. There's a lot of ruins out there in the woods. So he could give a feedback on, okay, I don't like your description for this, trail junction reentrant thing. So we change things around. We talk about it, why and such and such. So then the president finalizes the map to set things right to be readable for the public. Um, so I would say it took me about 3 months from start to finish. Although experienced people, I would think would be sooner. Um, but the day of the event was amazing. The weather was beautiful, perfectly warm, like low 70s. Um, Nice warm breeze coming off the lake. It didn't rain until way at the end when we had to pick up the controls, but all the participants didn't have to involve any rain, and everyone was happy. I got lots of good feedback. People who have a lot of experience gave me a couple suggestions. But overall, it was great. We had, um, I don't know how many participants, probably close to 50, but 36 maps were purchased. So groups come and they buy one map and share it. Um, and that's pretty good for a little Pennsylvania park. Pretty good. It was a great day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you seemed in good spirits when I was there.
Yeah, it was great. Nothing went wrong. And every control was in the correct location on the map. There weren't any issues, people coming back saying this was wrong. E- Everything was good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think when I was there was a mixed bag of people. Um, when I say mixed bag, I mean there's like the beginners, the advanced, the intermediate, like coming and going, and just you could
Yes.
see people like hustling and bustling because they're sweating, and then you just see people like casually
Yeah.
walking in. So it was I think it was a almost a perfect time to show up, except for maybe the start. But then
Yeah.
you only get to see like
Yeah.
it. The start would be kind of a little
You
weird place, I guess.
Yeah, you showed up at the right time because you saw people coming in and their facial expressions, right? You saw a couple people who had to have been running the entire time and they were exhausted. Couple of dudes sitting in the grass. The one guy was huffing and puffing. A couple guys were huffing and puffing. They were coming in, and you know how it is when you come back from a race and you can't talk and you're thirsty and you're like, okay, let me catch my breath here. Um, and then there are people who just went out. They wanted a hike in the woods. They just wanted a fun day in the woods. I had a couple friends that found some chicken of the woods mushrooms. Told me about some cool things they saw. The trees, the duck house. Um, that's what I wanted. I wanted happiness when they come back in. They were all very happy to have had a good time in the woods. No matter what it is your goal is. If you're out for exercise, you're out to run, you're out to compete against yourself to improve. You just want to enjoy your group of people, your family, learn something new, use your, you know, challenge your brain while you're out in the woods breathing the fresh air with the sunshine. Yeah, it's absolutely lovely.
Yeah, that's. I guess you said it better than I did when I said mixed bag, but that's sort of what I meant. Like you had
I do.
all walks of life slash
Yes.
abilities.
Ages,
Yeah,
abilities, desires of
goals.
what they wanted out of the day. Yes, absolutely. And then I had discussions with people that couldn't find a specific control and what they did wrong. Um, and now I know from my point of view when I F something up and I can't find something, I come in, I'm like, where was this? And, what did I do wrong? And you're frustrated and mad about it. You want to talk with someone about it. So you talk with the event director, the person who created the courses, you know. And now I see it from that point of view. It's great.
It does bring things full circle. Like I know it
It
from
sure
running
does.
my races. It just
Uh-huh.
yeah makes things so
Yeah,
much easier.
yeah. Yeah, you're like, "Oh, this is what it's like on the other side." And you think when you're coming in mad about something, right? And then you complain to the director and they're just standing there nodding their head at you. Now you know. You're like, "You're crazy." Because you're probably the only one, maybe the only one complaining about that. Or unless there's a group of people that complain, then they'll say, "Oh yeah, I heard about that already. We'll fix that next time," kind of thing. That happens. Yeah.
So, is there any rules people should know beforehand?
Um, no GPS. No GPS, yeah. Unless you want to cheat or you get lost. Can't use GPS. Um, I mean, you can try to ask for help from people, but you don't weren't they're not obligated to help you. So don't get mad if someone doesn't help you. Someone ignores you. It's, you don't have to help people.
Give them the old
Um,
90s. Give them the 90s.
right. I'm not talking to you. Yeah. Yep. And that happens. That happens. Um, and there are some rules sometimes specifically in regards to different types of courses. Like the ones I created, you have to follow them in order, 1 through 10. Um, some of the other ones, the different types of courses, there's um I forget, I think it's called like a score orienteering where each control point is worth different points. So you get to get the map and try to design your route to obtain the most amount of points in like an hour and a half. So that I did that one of those 3 weeks ago. I didn't do too shabby. So, but the only rules with that one, you don't have to find them in order. But you do have to be back within an hour and a half. And if for every the way that one worked, for every minute you're late, you were deducted 7 points. It's pretty significant point deduction if you are late. Do not be late. Yep.
What about
And I've
finding
been
out
like,
about
yeah,
events?
yeah. So of course, we have Facebook. We have a Facebook page for the Western Pennsylvania Orienteering Club. Pretty much all orienteering clubs have Facebook pages and events. You can type in, orienteering, or maps. You can find a map instruction class. That's what I did. Compass, state parks. Um, then we also have a website, and sometimes we put out on flyers and yeah, advertise any way we possibly can. State park websites, friends of the parks, they have an event calendar. Sometimes we're included in that. Um, Word of mouth is a big one. You can become a member of the Orienteering Club. It's $12 for an individual. It's pretty cheap. And then you get a discount for every time you want to orienteer.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
You guys gotta like up your game a little bit and start charging
I
some
know.
people.
Well, you know what though? There's people, what do I say, donate a lot of money actually to these. There's a lot of people who are members who don't even show up to meets. So, like, we're a nonprofit, or the Orienteering Club is a nonprofit organization, but they're doing fine. Yep. They're not trying to make money, but they donate money as well. So it's a very charitable organization.
Oh, that's nice to hear. Because I
Yeah.
most other races are not so
Some
much.
of some of them are not. Yeah.
Do you have any tips for new people or a tip in general you want to share?
Yeah. Talk to people about it when like don't be afraid to try it. It's not difficult. Um Even if you don't know how to read a map. That's what I usually hear from people when I suggest this. They say, "I don't know how to read a map." Okay, that's all the more reason you should go. And it's much easier than reading like a road atlas or sometimes even looking at the GPS. There's so much going on there. Uh, One of these maps is actually more simpler than a GPS map. So, um, don't be afraid to try it. It's very easy and most of the people standing around are very happy that you're there and very um, glad they are very glad to help you. So, I would love to take someone to an orienteering meet and have them come along with me. That would be wonderful. So if anybody out there wants to do that, let me know. I will gladly take you with me.
Uh, anything else you wanted to add?
Bring water. Um, don't get dehydrated out there. We have water stops, but pe what happens if you get lost, right?
You're
I
screwed.
mean, yeah, yeah, bring water. That's my tip.
I think that's about it. I know my head's
Yeah,
like, I don't want to say my
it's
head's
a
hurting, but
lot.
it's because like the whole time, like I might not have been engaged as much because I was trying to like learn as you're speaking.
Understand. I
Yes, like and
understand.
soak it in. So like I'm
Yes,
not wasn't as engaged with you as maybe some other people because like I'm trying to
I
learn and understand.
understand.
Yeah, I hope
I get
people
it.
don't get that impression if they're listening to this. Like, because this was
I know.
actually like a learning experience for me more than like
I'm
a
sure.
podcast. Like I was doing a
Yes.
podcast, but I wanted to learn, so like I'm trying to soak it
Great.
up in a little
Hmm.
bit. So,
Well, hopefully I said some words that will lead you into directions to learn more about it. Um, it can be very complicated if you get very competitive with it, obviously. That's any sport. There's so many intricate things to learn, but basically it's a walk in the woods. It's a scavenger hunt.
well, my competitive nature sort of kept me
Yeah.
from doing it. Like you said,
Well,
come with
yeah.
you, but then I don't want to be yelling at you in the middle of the woods. What the hell did you do? You got us lost. We're going the wrong
Yeah,
way.
that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, that happens. We all get lost. Um, oh, what was I gonna say? Uh, I forget. It's hard for trail runners actually because you want to be moving fast. Sometimes you have to move slower to pay attention to your surroundings and read the map. So imagine trying to read that map and run on trails too. It can be difficult. Yeah. So sometimes I try not to stop completely, but slow down and read the map as I'm looking and watching where I'm going. So you have to watch where you're going and watch where you're going.
That makes sense. I always
Yeah.
like I like to trip in the middle of the woods, so I look at my watch more than I should.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Hmm. Uh, I think that's about it. That's a pretty good stopping point, I guess.
Yeah.
Unless you have something else to add.
Oh, that's a lot
Yes,
right
yes, it
there.
definitely
Yeah, I
is.
don't want to overwhelm anybody. Yeah.
Um,
But if anybody has any questions, hey, feel free to contact me. I'm on Facebook, Kimberly Stewart. Pretty basic. Just holler at me. Just be like, hey, I want to do this. Come along. For sure. No matter, we can run, we can walk, doesn't matter. I will be glad to take you out there and show you orienteering.
all right, well, it was nice chatting with you, and I was happy that I actually got to come Sunday for a little bit because
Yes.
it helped me understand a little bit, and I was able to ask some more questions. I think better
Yes.
questions today than I would have if I didn't come. So, very happy I
Mhm.
got to see it firsthand before attempting.
Yes, I'm glad you got to see that. It's a lot to take in.
So, all right, I'll let you go, and sure, I'll see you
Thank
soon then.
you. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the episode today. If you or anyone you know has any amazing stories, adventures, or interesting information you or they may want to share, please reach out to me anytime. On the next screen, you could scan the QR code or type in the Linktree website to easily find all the social media locations Only iAthletics is located. Take a second and hit the follow button as you visit each one.